Welcome back to Switch to Linux. We are going to be looking at the Devuan distro today. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly or not, but the Devuan is it's right there on the banner right there. This is a distro that is based on Debian Jessie, and the specific thing about this is that they do not run systemd. For those that like Debian but don't want to run systemd, you have this as a choice to use. It is based on Jessie, so it is going to be a slightly older, but another major advantage is this runs on 64, 32-bit, and ARM processors. So if you're looking for a good desktop distro to run on your Raspberry Pi, this might be another one that you look into. So we're going to go ahead and have a look at the website here. Actually, I'm on DistroWatch still right now. This is where I saw it. So, of course, this is their latest release, and let's go ahead and jump on over to their website, which is devuan.org, devuan.org. So this release here, this is a new release, and what they were doing with this release here is, let's see if I can remember where the release was. I can't remember where the release was. But anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at everything on the website here. So, talking about free software, why run free software. In fact, I put some thought into this because I use free software when I'm doing my, producing my books for publication. And I'm actually going to start including on the back of the copyright page. I didn't do it on my first one that I produced personally. I'm going to start putting on the back of all the books I produce. I'm going to give a shout out to free software and give a reference to every software package that I'm using. And hopefully people will, move more into that. But anyway, here it's just has information about the operating system. Here's a stable version 1.0. The initialization system is SysV. Kernel. Whoa, yeah, somebody did say in the comments earlier, if you don't like updates, be careful with that. Linux kernel 3.16. Isn't that old? Like really old? Of course, this information is the old one. It looks like they do not have the current one I have just downloaded up here. So we'll go ahead and look at what kernel version is installed on my system as we install it. But anyway, if you hit the download button at the top of the site, my screen cuts it out a little bit. It's just right there at the top of the site. We can come down. There's you can grab torrents, magnet links, and there's a variety of other mirrors and things to pull from. So if you come in here and just select your mirror, you can choose what you want to go into. Here's your Devuan Jessie. Click on this. You have Desktop Live. This is the one that I downloaded, which just gets you an XFCE desktop. There's the embedded. There's the installer ISO. There's the minimal live. So if you wanted like the embedded, this is where you want to grab your Raspberry Pis or a variety of other things. So here's a Raspberry Pi 2. Here's a Raspberry Pi 3. I can't read their font very well. Is this a Raspberry Pi 1 probably? So there's a variety of different embedded options there that you can grab from. So that is, let's see, Desktop Live, Minimal Live. You can grab the minimals, where are the net installers at? ISO installers here. So you can grab, here's your 256 sums, AMD 64s, they have the DVD, net installer, whatever you need, they got it. This is what I like about this, is that no matter what your budget, if you're budgeted on your networking stuff, you might just want to grab one of the smaller ones and then, kind of go in from there. So I grabbed going back up to the parent directory, I grabbed the Desktop Live. This one I installed it, did not give me the option of the desktop. If you do want an option of a different desktop, you probably want to grab one of the, probably the net installer is my guess is the one you're going to want. And so that is where you can download it from. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and boot this guy up, and then we will head on over to have a look at it. So my guys on my live stream corrected me on the pronunciation. It's Devuan. Devuan is the pronunciation. All right, so now that's fixed. We are here on the live. This is the live key before we install it. And we are running, the default here is running XFCE. So up here we have our pop-downs for logout, shutdown, lock screen. We have our application menus over here. So let's go ahead and just have a look at our basic live key. Now this is only 800 and some megabytes to download. So the fact it actually has LibreOffice, GIMP, there's Firefox and Iceweasel to Firefox, VLC. There's actually a lot of stuff on here for being such a small download. That's actually pretty cool. We have gparted, our installation, our bug reporter. So there's a lot in here that's nice. Let's go ahead and have a look at our task manager. I forgot this was the one that doesn't necessarily have the ability to see how much system is running. I don't like the mouse scroll on to change workspaces. I don't use workspaces. I can't stand them. I'm not a huge fan of their desktop setup, but it's XFCE, so that's nothing to quibble about. Just change it. It's very easy. This is actually double click that and you change the size of your fonts. That is awesome. That's a cool function that I know a lot of people, I think Joe Collins would love that because he's big on increasing the font size so everyone can see it. So let me go ahead and increase the font size a little bit. All right. So now, under the installer, I don't recommend this for new users. And the reason is the installer is extremely complicated. First, we get our use su or use sudo. Why bother? Why bother? Just run the installer. So here, utility will install a running live CD or live USB to your hard drive. Comes with no warranty. Okay, that's fine. One of the things that I notice is that halfway through the installer, the position of the buttons leave. Oftentimes your OK is on the right and your exit is on the left on software. In this one, it's reversed, but halfway through the installer, they flip-flop. And so there are here a lot of options, and that is good if you know what you're doing. Once again, I scrolled to the bottom, and then it scrolls my my desktop changer. So that is actually really annoying, but that's actually okay. We can deal with that a little bit. So here it's just determining how you want to install it. We don't have an easy option to go in. Like I'd have to boot this up. I'd have to run gparter, partition my disk, and then run the installer from what I'm seeing here. So it does ask us where do we want to install things. So you do kind of have to know how you want to set things up. Okay, so here is where we can run gparted, we can run cfdisk, or we can skip the step. We're going to go ahead and skip. Choose where to install the bootloader. This is what I mean. Like, I know what all this means, but a basic new Linux user won't know what any of this means. And so that's kind of what makes this a little bit more difficult. Okay, so now where do you want the operating system? I'm going to do SDA2. Choose your format. So we have ext 2, 3, and 4. And then close any applications here, and then you want to proceed with the installation. After I push this, it goes ahead and will run all of the installation. I'm not going to do that because I've already installed this. Now again, I did not have the option of which desktop environment. I presume that's because I have downloaded and installed it from the live key, which it's going to install just basically itself. So if you do want to run a variety of other desktop environments, of which all major environments, Mate, KDE, GNOME, Cinnamon is in there, and I forget which other ones were in the list, Mate. Those are all options. Use the net installer if you want to go with those options. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to shut the system down, and then I'm going to reboot it into our installation, and we're going to have a look at what our installation looks like. Okay, so here we are installed, and basically all that does is it takes the live key and it installs that to the disk, and of course I don't believe the installer is going to be there, of course. Oh, it is still there. Oh, look at that. They took it off the desktop. That was nice of them. We do have the quick option to increase your font size. So if you do want to increase or decrease your font size, you have the ability to do that. Let's have a look at our applications real quick. So these are your basic settings. This is consistent with XFCE. I don't think there's really anything special in here. Clear looks Phoenix Perpy. This is a thing I'm not a huge fan of with XFCE, is it does have a slightly older general appearance than I personally like, but that's all subjective. And some people really like that look and that style. And you can. The thing about it, though, is if you know what you're doing with the system files, you can actually get in there and you can actually make a lot of CSS adjustments. Everything is CSS. So if you know CSS, you can get in here and do some amazing things. I actually use that on my cubes. The only place that I really use XFCE extensively is on my cubes install. I took the time to make my cubes install. The XFCE on my cubes is amazing looking. And that's really the only one that I really do that with. So here's your icons. We have Mate, Adwaita, Gnome, Tango. Let's go with Tango. Here's your font settings. All right, let's see what type of desktop pictures we have. Of course, we have this basic Devuan one, and then there's a variety of other images here. That's pretty cool looking. Yeah, I can't see the forest of the trees. Ohio sky. Anyone from Ohio? Toss, are you on? Is this really Ohio? Can you tell me, is this Ohio? Looks like we're getting a repeat. Oh, no, there's some new ones. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, I like that. I love fogs and trees and things. I like that. All right. See, I cannot stand that scrolling the mouse wheel to do that. I got to see if I can fix that. All right, so here you can determine what is on the desktop by default, so that's actually good. Your file manager. All right. Again, if you're not as familiar with XFCE, XFCE is very nice in the fact of how easy the panel is to use and configure. I always do that. There you go. Somebody said to move the panel down to the bottom. There, panel's down to the bottom. Now that works. Okay, this is panel 2. Let's go ahead and do a vertical. Let's move that maybe over here somewhere. I don't know, where should we put that? Let's put that over here. There we are. Go ahead and lock it now. Automatically show and hide the panel. Any more panels hiding around here? All right, just 2 panels. All right. There we are. So now we do have a nice panel over here if we need it. That's good. Preferred applications. The Debian Sensible browser. Well, that's a sensible choice. All right. So there you go. That's actually pretty nice looking. It's a little bit better. What about the, here's another thing. Let's do panel, add new items. Oh! Yeah, we don't have a better application menu, do we? We're kind of stuck with that one. All right. Okay. Basic Office, we have everything with Office. Some people always like to ask what works in Office, what doesn't work in Office. Oh, 4.3. Yeah, somebody was absolutely right. Devuan is way out of date on software. Does the spelling checker work? So it does appear that the spelling checker works. There it is. Do we have synonyms installed? Oh, we even have synonyms installed. That's actually pretty rare to have the synonym installer there. So it is an older version, much older version of LibreOffice, but they do have all the bells and whistles installed and ready to go with it. So that is actually pretty nice. Audio mixer. Never seen Xfolio. What's that? Xfalso? I have no idea. What's Xfalso? Anybody in the comments? What's Xfalso? I have no clue. All right, let's see. Well, that's cool. Full mixer there. All right, so that is it. So as far as my final take, my final analysis on this, why might you use this? Well, if you're looking for a good full desktop on a Raspberry Pi, excellent. Gets you a good alternative to a Raspberry Pi build. It does, it runs without systemd, so if you want to do something without systemd, this is good. Downsides, software is radically out of date. Even using an older Debian core base, the software seems quite a bit older. Let's go ahead and have a look at what version of Firefox we happen to have. And I don't see an email application. That's very interesting. Did I miss it? I don't see an email application. Whoa, yeah, that's an old version of Firefox. Whoa! Yeah, that's old. Devuan, what do I think? I think that the installer is a little bit more complicated for new users. So if you're a new user, definitely steer clear. There are going to be serious applications for why you would want to run this. Particularly old stable, something offline, that type of thing. You might run, this might run very well. As far as your basic desktop background, yeah, I agree with somebody in my comments earlier. If you like updates, don't run it because it is radically out of date. And for a build that just came out this week, this is pretty old, pretty out of date. Installer's a little bit more complicated as well, so be careful of that. Although if you are a seasoned Linux guy, it's not going to get in your way. I did not see any problems, any challenges, so everything on it seems to work. I didn't test absolutely everything. Of course, if you want to run a desktop other than XFCE, here's another thing. Let's see. There's a mail reader. Mutt. Oh. I guess we have a terminal-based mail reader. All right. How do we install... I want to see if there is a... if there happens to be a graphical installer or not. Okay, so we have Synaptic Package Manager. That would be our only installer. Again, if you don't know what software you're looking for or you're kind of new to Linux, this one may not be a good one for you. If you know exactly what you're looking for, well, Skype's not going to be in there. I don't know why I went with Skype. Let's look at, actually, let's do Evolution because that's actually the email system I prefer. So there's Evolution, so if I want to install it. So it is checking for dependencies, installing dependencies, so that's good. Let's go ahead and apply it. to be installed. Apply. I guess a couple other things I'll mention here before I get on with this. First, you'll notice that I did not have to enter a password anywhere to do that. That is a little bit strange. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that your main user is not added to the sudo group. And so I'm able to install packages here, but on my initial tests before I started, I can't do it until this is done. And actually it says it's going to take 5 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and cancel it. So if you actually come down here into your terminal and you know what you want, you are not added to a sudo user. So if you are wanting to use a terminal, you will actually have to log out and log into the system as a root user in order to do that, or just get into your root user and add yourself to the sudo user group. So that's another downside of the system. Again, there are useful applications for that being locked out. That is a little bit more security conscious, not being able to do that. So that's some final thoughts about this. My final take on this. I don't know. It's not for me. It's not necessarily one that I think is the best distro out there. It's an interesting take, and it's definitely not bad. It's just old and out of date. So that's kind of my take on that. So thanks for coming along with our live look at our Devuan system. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out switchtolinux.com/support. And you can learn about all the ways to help support us. We also have some merchandise at shop.switchtolinux.com. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.